As a photographer, I constantly meet women that wish they were more beautiful. They'll say to me, change this, Raquez, fix this, smooth that. Or I'll catch them saying, oh, they're not beautiful, or they wish they could do this to their bodies or that, looking at this, comparing themselves. All of this pain. This made me realize that women face so much pressure just to feel like they're enough. So I decided to create the Shape campaign. Shape represents simply human advocating positivity everywhere. Shape, get it? So I launched a nationwide search and received submissions from all over the country, but only 7 proved to have what it takes. I want to take the diamond in the rough and make her shine brighter than ever. I'm looking for determination, creativity, confidence, and heart. Every size, every color, and every shape. And you better believe I don't shoot for the stars. I create them. Shape. Hey, welcome back. My name is Raquez. I'm the host of the Shape Campaign podcast. Today I have the wonderful, exquisite, pun intended, Miss Terra Koger. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Raquez?
I am excited to be talking with you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here and for being a part of the Shape Campaign Season 3. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to start with an icebreaker.
Okay.
So I called this game Shape Shifter. So these are a series of questions I'm going to ask.
Okay.
And after the first question, you'll have 15 seconds to answer each question. I'll ask them in any particular order. Just do the best you can, and we'll go from there.
All right.
All right. So the first question is, what's the best one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Wow, that is a great question. I would tell my younger self first to be patient with yourself. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. So have grace with yourself. Be patient with yourself. And even when you fall, just get back up and keep going.
Awesome. And I'll take that advice. I need to hear that. All right. The next question is, what is one song that makes you feel like that girl?
Oh, I'm Every Woman by Whitney Houston. Like, she's my all-time favorite.
All right. Next question. If you were offered one free cosmetic procedure, what would you choose?
Get my stomach taken in a little bit so I won't have to wear shapewear anymore.
Okay. Which television character has inspired you the most?
Wow. Oh, I love Angela Bassett. That's the first person that comes to my mind.
Okay. Angela Bassett in what show? Or in this case, I'll say movie since she's an actor.
First one, Black Panther. It comes to mind.
Okay.
She's just a strong Black queen.
Gotcha. All right. Next question. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
To fly. I've always wanted to know what it feels like to be up in the air.
Beyond the planes or just like...
Yeah, beyond the planes.
Okay.
Just be able to take off flying. Almost like that movie Will Smith was in. I forgot the name
of it. Was that
of
Hancock, I think?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you like to fly?
I've never flown yet.
But you want to know what it feels like to fly without a plane?
Yep, because I look at birds all the time and just sit there and wonder what would that feel like to be able to just fly anywhere.
Okay, that sounds kind of scary to me.
And
you've never flown before at all, so it's
I'm ready to break that fear.
Okay.
I just haven't had an opportunity to present itself.
You gotta create it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Next question. Ooh, this is out. Okay. What is one song that has helped you to overcome a heartbreak?
Wow. Ooh. Help me overcome. The first song that comes to my mind right now is Will Smith, You Can Make It. He just performed it on the BET Awards.
You Can Make It, okay.
And I am going through that currently right now. So when I heard it, I just started crying.
You're going through a heartbreak right now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it just encouraged me so much. I just shed tears and got it all out, and I felt better afterwards. So
nice. Okay. Well, I definitely wish your heart to be healed soon.
Thank you.
And my condolences to you.
Thank Thank you. I appreciate it.
Final question, and this is a trick one.
Okay.
Well, not really a trick one if you know it, but either way, it's a tricky one. Last question, 10 seconds.
Ooh, okay.
What does the acronym SHAPE stand for?
I forgot Raquez.
Shame.
I know the E stands for everywhere.
Okay, I'll give you that. You're the first person to get at least one of the letters right so far.
And I knew it, and I forgot.
Well, maybe you could say it backwards since you like. Maybe you could say it backwards. Everywhere. Okay, what's the P?
I forgot. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
It's so bad.
I'll try not to be too disappointed.
Oh, please.
What a way to start an interview, right?
I know. Oh my God, I failed.
So, okay, thank you so much again for being here. I'm really excited to get into this conversation. There's a lot of things that I want to discuss with you.
Okay.
This is our first time ever working together.
Yes.
What made you decide to be a part of the Shape campaign season 3?
I wanted to be a part because my pageant sister, Pauline, I saw when she did it the previous year. She looked so beautiful, and I loved your mission, like what you stood for and how you promote body positivity, because that's the whole thing that our pageant promotes. So it was in alignment with what I'm doing. And she spoke so highly of working with you, and she just enjoyed the experience. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was looking for a great healthy modeling opportunity. And she spoke so highly of working with you. And she said, you should do it, Terra. And she just put me on to it. And I'm glad I did. It's been a beautiful experience.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I do want to say this though, and I feel like, so season 1 of the Shape campaign started out about body positivity, but it's actually expanded into more than just about body positivity. I think that that's the most digestible way people normally can see what it is about.
Okay.
But I think it's so much more than that. It's about diversity. It's about embracing all types of beauty. It's about inner beauty and outer beauty. It's about empowering women to be their most beautiful selves in whatever form that they find that to be, whether that is a thicker body or a thinner body or a taller body or a shorter body or a darker body or a lighter body,
Right.
whatever that looks like for them. That's what Shape is.
Okay.
And I think for me, the acronym Simply Human Advocating Positivity Everywhere
Okay.
encompasses all of that. But I do want to dig into you as far as your pageantry and how did all that get started for you? You are Miss Exquisite.
Yes. Full figured North Carolina 2023.
And that's a mouthful to say. So tell me all about that.
At the time, I had just gone through another rough breakup situation. And on top of that, my father had passed away. My father was my best friend. I was very close to my father. He was not only my father, he was my pastor as well. Founder of our church, everything. Taught me everything I know. And he passed in March of 2022. And I was just at a low place emotionally, very depressed. And I was like, I just need something to lift my spirits. Like, I gotta find me again. What makes me happy? What makes Terra happy? And I just wanted to do something I had never done outside of the box. As a little girl, of course, I always watched Miss America, Miss Universe faithfully. I still do to this day. And in the back of my head, I always had in mind, I would love to do a pageant one day. And so in that moment in my life, I was like, this would be so fun. And I saw the pageant advertisement on Instagram. I was just up late one night, bored on the computer, saw the advertisement come across the screen, and I was like, wow, a pageant for plus size women? Because I knew I didn't fit in the regular pageants because you have to be a certain size. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, this looks like so much fun. And it was right there in North Carolina. And make a long story short, I started filling out the application and that fear and doubt set in. And I got so nervous at answering some of the questions on the application, I literally got up from the computer, went in the kitchen to go eat a snack. Because I was like, ugh, should I do this? Am I answering these questions right? Are they going to pick me? You know how you just, that spirit of self-sabotage and the thoughts run through your mind. Am I good enough to enter something like this? And it was like God told me, it was like, if you don't get back in that room, back in that office and finish filling out that application, just see what happens. And to make a long story short, I'm glad that I did, because I won so many categories in that pageant. And it was such a life-changing experience for me. And I know by doing this and all of the community service that I was required to do, it even helped me heal from losing my father, because it kept me busy and kept my mind off of dwelling on the fact that I didn't have him anymore. And then it also made me feel like I was honoring him through my actions, because I know he would have been proud that I'm out there serving my community. And just the people that I met along the way, that was even healing and soothing for me, because when you see what other people are going through, it makes your problem, it puts so much in perspective. You're like, okay, my situation isn't near as bad. And like one of the places I served in was the soup kitchen. You got whole families coming in there, don't have nothing to eat. You know, people with disabilities and stuff coming in there from all walks of life. And it just put so much into perspective for me. It was a very humbling and healing experience.
Well said. Well said. There is something I want to circle back to. You said that this is a full figure based pageant, right?
Yes.
I know you said that someone said to you, you're not plus size. What are you doing in a plus size pageant? Tell me about that story.
Yeah, I would say that was the most challenging thing for me when I first entered it. And I did catch that comment from internally as well as from family members. They would look at me up and down like, you're not plus size. What are you doing in a plus size pageant? And I, instead of taking offense to it, which I could have easily done, and the first time I heard it, it was discouraging, but I didn't show it. And instead, I used it as an opportunity to educate people, because a lot of people don't know if you're double digits or higher as far as your dress size, you are considered plus size in the fashion industry. And that's what we go by, you know, and a lot of people don't know that. And do I agree with that rule? I don't. You know, I feel like you said, no matter what size you are, you should be able to enter a pageant. That's why I'm even ecstatic and thrilled that Miss USA now has knocked down the doors as far as you have to be a certain size to enter. And Miss Nepal, she was one of the women that I admired a couple of years ago. She was one of the first full-figured women to enter that, well, Miss Universe. And she represented, she was among the top 20, I believe. Even though she didn't win, she broke down so many barriers and doors just by being there and representing herself. And she represented herself well. But yeah, hearing that, it could have deterred me and discouraged me and made me not want to be in it. But I knew God had my steps ordered and that he wanted me to be doing this. Like, just the way it all worked out, I just knew this is what I was supposed to do.
Let me ask you this. So, like, when you say that, okay, they say you're not plus size, what are you doing in a plus size pageant? But then you also say, well, I'm not the size for the standard of the beauty pageants. How does that make you feel when you don't really fit in either? It's like you're in limbo pretty much. How does that make you feel?
And you're hitting it on the head. Literally, that's how I felt when I first started receiving those comments. And I was that close to dropping out.
But is it more of a, does it feel more like a, because some may say, oh, that's a compliment. Thank you. You don't think I'm plus size? Some may say that because they may not want to be identified with that type of label. But then some may say, well, am I not good enough to do this? So where did you fall on the spectrum?
I leaned more towards so am I not good enough to be in this? Because I knew I couldn't be in a regular pageant, you know. So it was very confusing. It was discouraging. Yeah, it made me feel some type of way. It's the best way I can describe it. But I did not let those comments cause me to drop out, and I'm glad I didn't. because I wouldn't have seen what was on the other
There you
side.
go.
Because it was pretty monumental. and I'm just glad that I was faced with that, because I had never been asked that kind of a question before. So it taught me how to handle myself being asked those type of questions. And like I said, it was a moment where I could educate people. And once I would explain how sizes work in the fashion industry, they were like, oh, I didn't know that. Every person, especially family members that I told that to, they was like, oh, I didn't know. And I'm like, well, now you do.
Now you know. Now it's interesting because I didn't know that either. As far as like that, I felt like in beauty pageants, which I know that most of them are the same size, but I thought it was more about not only the outer beauty, but the inner beauty as well. So to know that they still have those same stipulations on sizing is disheartening.
It is.
And I think it's kind of contradictory to what they are supposed to represent, in my opinion, because you're supposed to be more than just the physical, right?
Right.
But you're not holding the same standard when it comes to the size.
And I would say in general, the beauty pageant industry, it's come a long ways. A lot of pageants now are starting to understand that inclusivity and to embrace all body shapes and sizes. And they're now eliminating those rules. So change and shift is happening. There's still some that are still holding on to their rules, and I hope that over time it'll be that way across the board, where you won't even have a quote unquote plus size pageant. It will just be a beauty pageant, and you can enter any of them and let your light shine, Now
we're going to move on soon, but I do have a question. Being that it's a full-figured pageant, right? Are there any types of pressures or any types of trainings or anything about health and wellness or trying to lose weight? Is that ever pressured on you all?
No. I never personally felt any pressure about that. We were encouraged, though, to be very mindful of what we eat. But it wasn't like a pressured situation or where you were singled out or anything like that. The motto of our pageant is size has no barrier on beauty. However, we do promote being the healthiest version of yourself as you can. We even had a pageant sister who is a nurse, and she's into holistic health. And so we gathered a lot of knowledge and strength from her, because her whole mission is, even though you might be plus size, it doesn't mean that you have to be unhealthy. You can still be healthy and be plus size. Because you even have smaller, thinner people, and they can be unhealthy or healthy. It depends on how you take care of your body and what you eat.
Right.
And it's not, you can't just look at somebody's size and just automatically be like, okay, they're unhealthy because they're this size.
The same way that you can't just look at someone on the outside and say that, oh, they look beautiful, but they may not be beautiful on the inside.
Yes.
So I think it's the same type of situation.
Exactly.
Now, you're from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You were born and raised there?
Yes.
Tell me about life for you in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Oh, let's see. Winston-Salem it's a pretty chill city. It's like I was telling you earlier, it's really a city where if you're ready to settle down with a family, or you're at retirement age, because it's just a quiet, laid back area. We don't have a lot of tourism or a lot of concerts or anything, because our Coliseum just never either had the support for that type of concert. Right. So we would always have to go to Greensboro or Charlotte or Raleigh, things like that, to go to a major concert. We used to have the CIAA basketball tournament. Okay. They ended up taking that away from Winston, and
that one y'all had none.
Yeah, so that really it got bored after that. We do have our famous fair every year in October. Okay. We have some nice parks, Tanglewood, and a few other things. It's a pretty chill city, We have our share of crime like everybody else, but it's not. We're not ranked up there like some of the other cities. Like Greensboro, for example, has used to be up there for homicide rates. We're not quite, and I'm not trying to speak bad about Greensboro, but being that we're in a triad
Greensboro,
with them,
she just threw y'all under the
I'm
bus.
sorry. But yeah, we're not quite that bad.
Well, you're not
And-
offending me. I'm from a town called Washington, North Carolina. So
Oh,
as long as you don't say
okay.
that about Washington,
No,
then
I've
I'm all
never been
good.
there. And I would say the last thing we have left major in our city that's great is the National Black Theater Festival. It's now called the International Black Theater Festival. That's every August, and all the famous actors come in town, and it's so many parties, day parties, night parties, just free poetry nights you can go to. And it's just the event of the year for Winston-Salem.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I know you say your father was, your late father was your pastor.
Yes.
Tell me about your father and mom, and you have siblings. And
Yeah, my father, Bishop William E. Koger, he was the founding pastor of our church. It was called Ministries of Truth, and it's an apostolic church or Pentecostal, whichever one you want to lean to. And my mother, Patricia Koger, she was the first lady, and my mother is still living. My father passed March of 2022. It was complications during dialysis treatment. And he was just dealing with a lot. He was up in age, even leading up to that. So it was still unexpected, though, because you know how you look at your parents, they're like your hero.
yeah.
And that's what my dad was for me. And so it was just very unexpected.
What do you think he would say, and how do you think he would feel about your success in the pageant world?
Oh, you trying to make me cry, Raquez. He would be so proud of me. That was pretty much, like I said, one of the main reasons why I entered it. Because I just wanted to get over that sadness of losing him. I knew he didn't want me to just sit at home and keep crying about it. Losing him. I could hear his voice. You got to keep going, baby girl. You got to move on. And even before he passed, he would give the family speeches. We would engage in deep conversations with him. It's literally like he was preparing us to know he wouldn't be here much longer. I even talked to my dad the Thursday before he passed. And it was a few days before he passed. And it was like our way of saying goodbye. We were on the phone for a long time, longer than we normally were. And it was literally like we were taking a trip down memory lane. We was talking about past vacations that the family had had and just different things. And he even told me a vision that he had had while he was in the nursing home, but he wouldn't go into deep detail about it. But he did tell me that God told him that my mom would be safe. And that just, did something to me. But he was an amazing father. When I tell you, like, I wish every little girl could experience the father that I had, because he shielded me from everything. He was a provider for our family. We didn't want for anything. If my dad had to work 2-3 jobs, which he did because he was running the church, and both my parents retired from RJ Reynolds, so they always were hardworking people. And he tried to expose us to the best things of life. We would go to nice vacations every year. He listened to great music. He always wanted us to listen to grown folks' music like Motown and, all the greats, and really hear like an orchestra and music. And that's what made me develop my love for music, is because of him. And he protected me not only physically, but he taught me everything I know spiritually about God, made me strong in my faith. And he was just a wonderful father. He didn't let anybody hurt me, and I know he would have been proud of me in this pageant. If he had been living during this pageant, he would have been at every practice. He would have driven me or flew with me to nationals. And one of the most sentimental things to me was when I went to nationals, because once you won your state level pageant, you got to go compete nationally. And that's where all the states come together to ballot it out. So I had so many things I had to take with me that I knew I couldn't fit that on a plane. That would have been my very first plane flight, Raquez. But I knew I couldn't get all that on the plane. So I said, I'm going to have to drive. And my makeup artist was the only one, and assistant was the only one that was able to go with me. Because we had to go all the way to New Jersey, and she helped me drive, and I was able to take my dad's old SUV, 2000 Dodge Durango, drove us up there and back, no problems at all. So it was literally like my dad's spirit was still with me going to the pageant and coming back. I just knew he was with me. And even after I won the state pageant, I remember when I did that last walk across the stage and they were going to do their final remarks and then give the scores out. I went backstage and I just fell in my makeup artist's arms. I was just crying because I had held so many emotions in. But at that moment, it was like, okay, I finished. I did it, Dad. And she looked at me, and what made me break down crying, she said, your dad would be so proud of you. I lost it. Because I had been holding it in, because I knew I couldn't focus on that, or else I would have been very emotional through the whole experience. But when she said that, it was just crocodile tears. Yep, but I know he's proud of me. I know he is.
I know he's proud of you, too.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hey, it's your guy Quest here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Shape Campaign podcast. And as a quick reminder, please be sure to check out all of our exclusive interviews from the rest of our Shapecast, as well as the promotional rollout at raquezrouse.com. And for more exclusive behind-the-scenes stuff that you may have not gotten to see, at my Instagram handle at mr.raquezrouse. That's Mr. Raquez Rouse. Now back to the show.
Terra Koger. Got it. Okay, here we go. So I understand that you say that you have battles with depression and anxiety. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it really started back in 2018. That's when I was officially diagnosed with depression and anxiety. It came, I would say, shortly after I had my son, because I've been a single mom the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so just a lot of emotions. Just, I love my son, the greatest gift of God that ever came to me. And that's why I named him Jonathan. That's what his name is.
I have here that you refer to him as your sunshine.
Yep, he is. He is. He's my reason why I keep going. And, but you just wish you had have picked wiser who you had your child by. But you live and learn. But back then I beat myself up so much about that. And I had to forgive myself, and then being raised up in church, I had a kid out of wedlock. But I will say this, my church was so supportive of me. They didn't condemn me. My parents were supportive of me from day one. They threw me the biggest baby shower. They loved me through it. They didn't make me feel bad. And I'm thankful I was in a church, because I know you can't say that about every church, unfortunately. When you fall down, some churches don't make you feel good or feel like you can get up. But my church wasn't like that. But I had to forgive myself, because I never thought or saw myself as being a single parent. So just went through different phases of depression during that time, the whole postpartum thing. I even had anxiety, like when I would go out with him the first few times with my son by myself, just hoping he wouldn't cry a lot and disturb other people. How would they react? I remember one time I was in a movie theater with my son. The people in front of me got up and moved because they felt like my son was talking too much, so it's different things you deal with, as a single parent. Hoping that you can always make ends meet for your child financially, because all the weight is on you. You don't have nobody else helping you.
Now, is his father present? As far as is he alive? Is he?
He is.
Okay.
He has recently, near the end of last year, finally started reaching out to him, and talking to him through text, and I'm hoping and praying that one day he'll finally just say, I want to meet you in person, son, and it's been a hard hill for both of us to climb. I never tried to keep him away from his father. His father has his version of the story, and that's why we kept clashing, because I'm like, you're not going to make me feel like it was my fault. I've never tried to keep you away from your son. And my family and my church family, they knew the truth of what happened. And I just pray, like I said, at some point he'll finally want to see him in person. Because texting is not enough. You know, you've
So he
already
hasn't seen him
missed.
at all in person since he was born?
No, since he was 4 years old. That was the last time he saw him in person, face to face.
And he's 17 now, right?
Yep. We'll be 18 in September. And yeah, so just dealing with all of that, it was hard.
Let me ask you this, because I have to make the connections, right? Because you said that your late father, rest his soul, was such an instrumental pillar in your life, right? How do you think, and you can't control other people's actions, so I'm not trying to imply that by any means, but how do you, when you are dating and the type of men that you allow to pursue you, how does that correlate? Do you look for men that are similar to your father? Do you feel like your father has been approving of the people you've dated that he's known of?
That is a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that. That's deep. I would say that I have not, in some cases, chosen wisely. I do desire to meet someone that has the qualities of my father. But then on the other hand, I feel like he was such a good man, and he came even from an era where he was very handy. He could fix anything. He rarely had to call anybody into our home to fix anything. He just knew how to do it. And a lot of men my age, they don't have that component. So sometimes I even wonder, will I find
no one compares.
That? Right. That's some big shoes to fill. Yeah. So there are some great guys I have dated along the way. I don't want to make it seem like there haven't been. But I'll say this much. The majority of them, they put on a mask in the beginning, pursue very strongly in the beginning. And then it's like this other side comes out. And I'm like, who is this? So right now, I'm just taking a break from me and getting back to loving me. Because I feel like somewhere along the way, because of all these bad experiences, that I kind of lost that. And then I did a lot of introspect. I hope I'm using the right word. Yeah, soul searching, and within myself, like, what am I doing wrong? Why do these situations not work out?
I'm so glad you said introspect, because me being a young man, 30 years old, and that's one of the biggest takeaways that I can say that I've learned in my adult life is introspection and reflection. Because everything that happens, it happens for a reason. Now, what my goal is in that experience, I can't always control everything that happens to me, but I can learn from everything.
Right.
Even the things that I may have brought upon myself, I can say, this is what I chose to do, and this was the consequence of that action. So that way I'll never be anybody's victim, because I refuse to be a victim to anyone. But what I can do is, if it's on me, then I can hold myself accountable to say, hey, next time, don't move this way. When you see these signs, don't second guess it.
Yes.
Trust what you see, because there's a reason why you're seeing those things. And I'm glad you said introspection, because I too agree with that.
Yeah.
So
and you made me think of something else. There was times where I saw red flags early on in some situations, and I chose to ignore them, thinking I could change him. You know, and that's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in a dating situation. You cannot change someone, especially once you get to your later years, like your 40s and up. Pretty much the way that person is how they're going to be, and they're not going to do much changing. So,
unless they want to,
right? Unless they want to,
yeah.
Right? So yeah, right now I'm just focusing on me, trying to heal my heart. Continue to do things that make me happy, continuing to go after my goals, because I have a lot of things that I have not done that I want to get done. I have my goals literally written out on paper, and I'm just trying to get back in the right mind frame so that I can start doing those things.
Well, I hope you get there as soon as you would
Thank
like to.
you.
Absolutely. So I know that you also are a singer.
Yes.
Yes. You sing in church.
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did you start as a kid in the choir, or how long have you been doing that?
You're exactly right. As a PK, your dad, your parents are like, is there anything in church that you're interested in? I want you to find your niche, And my dad was very sweet. He wasn't aggressive or forceful, like, you better find something to do. He didn't approach my brother and I like that at all. He was very tender in his approach with that. And he said, just find one thing in church you love to do, whatever your heart gravitates towards, what he said. And immediately for my brother and I, it was music. And he played the drums, and I even played the drums for a little bit in church. It was a long time ago. It wasn't as advanced as it is now. And later on, I gravitated towards playing the organ in church. And I learned by ear on my own. I didn't have anybody to teach me. And I played for quite a while. I got decent. I wouldn't say I was great. I never felt great at it, but I would do enough to hold the service down, People be shouting and stuff. So I said I must be doing okay. And over time, when more male musicians came to our church, they're way more advanced. Just male musicians now dominate when it comes to music. So I just I can't hang with y'all, and I just let it go. But I've always maintained my passion for singing. And I started off in a little kids choir, and it just progressed from there. And even when I went to college, I graduated from UNCG, I was a lead singer in the gospel choir there. And that's really when I would say perfected my gift even more, because they were very serious about it. We couldn't even at that time, we couldn't even look at the words. They wouldn't let us write them down. You had to learn the material before you came to rehearsal.
And I'm gonna ask you to sing something. Right?
I already. Yeah, you have to always be prepared.
Okay, that's a real singer then.
Yeah.
Because all right, I'm just gonna let you go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna sing "I Have Nothing," which is what I sang in the pageant. Share my life, take me for what I am, 'cause I'll never change all my colors for you. Take my love, I'll never ask for too much, just all that you are and everything that you do. I don't really need to look very much further. I don't want to have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. This passion inside can't run from myself. There's nowhere to hide. Don't make me close one more door. I don't want to hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. Or must I imagine you're there? Don't walk away from me. I have nothing, nothing, nothing if I don't have you.
Well done. Well done. You have a very soulful voice, and your vibrato is very church.
Yeah.
Very, very apostolic, Pentecostal.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you definitely, I can see the inspiration for sure. Have you ever considered doing anything with your singing?
Yeah, that's my dream. I want to be a professional singer. And I hope I don't ruffle any feathers by saying this, but this is a truthful podcast, so I'm going to be truthful. I would love to sing both gospel and R&B, because they stem from the same line anyway. And blues, like all of that comes from the same, and I would keep it classy, but I love both types of music.
Absolutely.
And I love jazz. Like I love a lot of different types of music. Like if you saw my playlist, you'd be like, Terra, listen to that, So yeah, that is my
wouldn't do that 'cause
dream.
I love music too, so I have a little bit of everything in my playlist. So
Okay,
I'm
awesome.
with you.
So you
Absolutely.
understand.
I definitely understand.
Okay.
So wrapping up a little bit here,
Mhm.
I know you say that you're afraid of being in the same place as you were last year, and that not making any progress towards any of your dreams that you have in your life, you don't want to look back and regret anything, and you don't want to at least not try what was in your heart to do, even if you fail at it.
Yes.
So that would be, I don't really have a question about that, but that's what I'm going to hold you accountable for.
All right.
Because you've said a lot of things today that you aspire to, even if it's just something as small as taking a plane ride.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that you have expressed that you want to experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you are doing yourself a justice by not going after it, even if you fail, like you said.
Yeah.
And did you really fail if you tried?
Not really. You're right. I saw a quote not too long ago. It was something pertaining to that. Failure really isn't failure. It's all in how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And did you learn from it? And if you did, it's not really a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, there's really no such thing as failure.
Mm-hmm. What has this experience being a part of the Shape campaign? I know that it's very similar in the mission to the pageant world, but what personally for you has this particular experience been for you?
It has been a very rewarding experience for me. It has stretched me as well, because I would say my second favorite love under singing is modeling, but I have more fear in branching off into modeling than I do singing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I still feel so inexperienced when it comes to modeling.
Mm-hmm.
I recently went to a modeling audition last month, and I didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I really wanted to be in this particular show.
Mm-hmm.
And I did somewhat let it affect me, because I haven't auditioned for anything since then, and I shouldn't.
Rejection is hard, though.
Yeah, it is.
Give yourself grace. Rejection is tough.
Yeah.
It's not easy to just be told no.
Yeah, you're right.
Even
right.
if you didn't really want it, you still, it's the ego thing, I think, too, sometimes. Like, you don't want to be denied for anything.
And I thought I did good during the audition. And I wish so bad that I could ask them, why wasn't I chosen? Can you give me feedback?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I wish could happen when you go out for an audition, that you could contact the judges and ask them, what do I need to improve in? But needless to say, this experience has been, it just meant the world to me, because I was able to learn so much about myself during this interview process. Even when you first asked me this set of questions, I was like, "Whoa, these are some deep questions." It made me really think about a lot. You made me feel very comfortable during the photo shoot, because like I said, I felt so inexperienced, like I didn't know what I was doing. But you made me feel very comfortable. You made all of us feel welcomed, and you don't get that on every modeling experience. Like, I've heard horror stories from models about how they were treated. I've heard stories about where you didn't feel safe during certain go-sees and things like that. There's a lot of things happen, especially for professional models. They have quite a few stories to tell.
I think that with what I am doing and what I do, there's such a responsibility that I have, and I would never, ever take advantage of that opportunity to really have a platform to help people. Like, that to me is just like, it's at my heart, it's at my core, and just to hear you, thank you for saying that, and to hear you say these things is because I truly believe in bringing that out. And I've always been like that ever since I was a teenager. Ever since I started photography, it's always been about, for me, bringing that beauty out of people. I can see beauty in people that people might look at and be like, I see it.
Yeah.
Because it's more than this,
And like you said, if you don't have a sweet spirit on the inside, it don't matter how you look on the outside.
Yep.
Like, if you have a terrible spirit, it will make you appear ugly on the outside. Like, that's a turnoff. So I appreciate this experience. And just off of the word of my pageant sister, Pauline, like, because I know she does not work with just anybody. So when she spoke so highly of you, I automatically knew it was going to be a great experience. Because my pageant sister don't lie.
And I'll say this
She
about
keeps it
Pauline.
real.
I'll say this about her. She is one of the most purest examples of beauty inside.
Yes,
and out.
I totally
and
agree.
I've told her that like she just radiates that from the inner being.
She has. I always told her from the minute I met her, I said, you have a natural, regal quality about you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you don't even have to try. I said, this is just how you are. Sweetest woman I've ever met.
Absolutely.
And I was honored to reign beside her. And that is my girl. She has been such a support to me. Even things we've gone through, we still call each other and check on each other. Like, you all right, sis? Yeah, I'm all right. You all right, sis? You know, and that's the type of bond we have. And I always wanted to keep it that way. But she is a light. She really is.
That's stellar. So, Ms. Koger, what can the world expect from you next? How can people stay in touch with you on all the things that you are working on, all these dreams that you are making reality?
Yes, I have 3 Facebook pages. My main one, Terra Koger. You can find me real easily there. I also have a page. I finally started a page just under the name Terra, where I share my singing journey. So I have clips of me singing on there. Follow me there.
On Facebook?
On Facebook.
Okay.
And I do have my official Queens page, and it's Miss Exquisite Full Figure, North Carolina Terra Koger. I have 2 Instagram pages, my private page, Terra Koger, and then my other pages is MSEXQFFNC23. So it's short for Miss Exquisite Full Figure, North Carolina 23. I know that's a lot.
So we'll try to condense that for the listeners and viewers. They have at least a couple of those handles so they can reach out to you. So
yeah, and I'm also on TikTok as well.
Also on TikTok as well.
And pretty much the same information is shared across for the most part.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Leave our listeners and viewers with one last impression of you that they can have to hold on to.
I just want people to know that no matter what life throws your way, like what happens to you, like just keep going. Like, don't stop. 'Cause life be lifing.
Life be lifing.
Hard. Like, if I could sit here and tell you all the stuff that I'm dealing with, like, and there's days I do want to give up, but I know I can't. You know, and I just want to encourage anyone that may be going through a hard time right now or feel like nobody sees you or nobody hears you. Just know that you are on earth. You do have a purpose. God has a plan for your life. Don't give up. Do things that make you happy. I don't care what they are, because you only get one life. And whatever your dreams and desires are, go after it, and go after it hard, because you never know when your time is up here. Like, we're just all just passing through, you know, and just don't give up. That's all I can say. And I'm saying this from a personal place. I've had to say this to myself so many times. Terra, you cannot give up. You've come too far. And the people that are looking up to you, that you're encouraging, some people you encourage, you don't even know you're encouraging them. Sometimes I have posted stuff on my social media thinking nobody's reading it, especially when it came to my platform about mental health. And then I get private messages, thank you so much for posting that. You could have very well saved my family member's life, or you don't know how much you're encouraging me. I was grateful to God to have the very first mental health Sunday at our church, the last Sunday in May. We had never had a mental health Sunday. And I have big dreams and goals even with that, because I want people to know it's okay to not be okay. We all go through things and we all deal with stress in life differently. But at the end of the day, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I say this all the time, I just want to be a beacon of light, especially when it comes to mental health, to let people know it's okay. You're not by yourself, and you can make it through this. And you're going to be okay. And you got people rooting for you that want to see you win.
And I'm rooting for you as well.
Thank you. And I'm rooting for you too, Raquez.
Terra Koger, thank you again so much for being a part of the Shape Campaign Season 3. Best wishes to you and everything that you will accomplish.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us. We'll see you later.
My first podcast. Wow, that was awesome.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Shape.